Okay, so today we are going to talk about fractions and why it's important to actually measure out things, especially with liquids, instead of just eyeballing it. So right in front of us, we're going to use a cup. This is one measured cup of water. And next to it, we have half a cup. And then next to that, we have 1/4 cup. And if you need a visual aid, there's our whole, our half, and 1/4, and what it would look like on a pie chart. Okay, so our cups that we used are not perfect cylinders. They are narrower at the bottom and they are wider at the top. So if I was going to try to just make half a cup, Maddie, try to pour half of this cup into there. Yes. Be easy, don't spill any. Let's see about how close you got. No, let's not compare them though. We're just pouring out. Okay, so there's our 1 cup. And this is what Maddie called half a cup. This is an actual half a cup. As you can see, it's close, but a real half a cup is taller. Yeah. So that's why it's important that we actually measure it using our measurers. I use a measuring cup to get this. Now, one of the issues, especially when we have this type of cup, and this is where volume comes in. As you can see, I marked these off there. Oop, let's move them over here. They're not exact. We need a wider background. There we go, that'll work. They're not exact, but they're marked off pretty well. There's 1/4 cup, 1/2 cup, 3/4, and 1. Now, as you can see, the tallest part would be right here between dashes. That's the tallest part. And that's because the bottom of this cup is the most narrow. So it's the same amount of water on each one of these fourths, these quarters. But since that part is narrow, it is making the volume, since that's a narrower volume, it's making our stuff have to be taller to fill up the same amount because it's a narrow part of the cup. So same volume of water, but it's narrower, so it's taller. And then right here, this part of the cup's a little bit wider, so that's just a tiny bit shorter. You can barely see it. Same thing right here. It's still wider, so that's a tiny little bit shorter. And then this one you can actually notice. I might have did that one a little crooked, but this one you can actually notice because this is the widest part of our cup. And so one would think that you could probably fit about 1/4 of a cup right there. So we're going to figure out this is our 1/4 or 1/2. Who thinks that you can fit a half cup in there instead of just a 1/4? Maddie, what do you think? Do you think we could just fit 1/4? I think we could definitely do 1/4, but do you think we could fit a whole half? You think we could fit 1 whole half? Okay, we're going to try it because Maddie said we can do it. Now look at the difference right there. Yeah, I'm not sure.
No.
Let's look at the difference on this one.
Also, if you have 4/4, you can make a whole, and if you have 2 halves, you can make a whole.
That's right. Let's try this half and see how much we can get in there.
About 1/4.
Ooh, that's all the way to the top, and we were able to do about a half of the half. So how much would that be, Maddie?
1/4.
A half of a half is 1/4. So let's very carefully pour that back in there until we get back down to our line. And there, we're back on our line right there. So we cannot fit the half. But let's see if we can fit the 1/4. Now the 1/4 also looks like it's about twice as tall, maybe a little less. But let's see.
Like an 1/8 higher.
We had plenty of room to fit that 1/4. Because even though it was taller on the bottom of this glass,
it's wider on
it
the
was
top.
wider up here so we could fit more in our volume. And I know this is a little bit of a mixed lesson right here because we're all over the place, but we just kind of made this one up as we were going and wanted to squeeze one in real quick while we had our little babies calm. Okay, Maddie. So, are these two the same? Do they have the same amount?
Not
Without even looking. Let's call them the same. This is 3/4. All right, not 3/4. This is 4/4. Is it the same as this 1 whole?
Yes. 4/4 equals a whole. So this 2 halves.
Okay, we got that. Okay, so let's see if those two halves do. So we're going to take half of this. We have this marked, so we know what half is. And we can pour it into this one until we get on down in there. I might have been a little bit off on my measurements, but yep. So we know that if we added 1/2 of this cup to this cup that we already had a half, we now have a whole. Now let's try this. We have our little marked one here. Again, the marking's just slightly off. And we have our 1/4. What are we going to get to if we add it to this half of a cup? If we add 1/4 to 1/2. 3/4. What's an easy way to know that?
Because 2 + 1 = 3.
Yes, but see, they don't know where you got the 1. So here is a little something we need to show real quick. So 1/2 is also the same as 2/4.
2/4.
And then this 1/2 is the same as 4/4. So that is the same. So when we add our little quarter here, we're going to get up to 3/4. And that is because when we do this, and this one might be a little, we're going to do 2/4 plus 1/4. Now, this is our numerator. This is our denominator. We're going to leave our denominator has to stay as 4. We don't add those together and get 8. I know that can be confusing. We don't do that, but we do add the 2 and the 1. So we got 3/4. 3/4, 3/4, 3/4. They are all just different words for the same thing. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our quarter back.
Yeah, that's about 1/4.
Our things are just a tad bit off because we didn't use actual beakers. Did not get those out like we would do if we were doing science or something like that. Because we just want to do a quick overview on doing a cup and figuring out a cup, because a lot of the time you will use whole cups, half cups, quarter cups, and you need to kind of understand how to do those, especially if you're baking or cooking other stuff. Every once in a while, you will also do a third. I did not mark any 1/3 cups.
There's also a thing of 8s.
Yes, there are 8s, but you don't often use them in baking. But we just want to do one quick little lesson while we had our little twin babies calm. And I hope that somebody can understand it just a little bit better now. Maddie, do you understand it better? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Say bye.